Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. Now, the floods have gone beyond umbrellas and rain boots as federal government issues red alert for 15 northern states. There's also fear in the north once again as schoolgirl is abducted in Borno State, 2 killed in Plateau raid. And of course, dozens of soldiers arrested over alleged plot to oust junta. Definitely, we have our correspondent stationed across the different regions of the nation while we bring the details of the story. We'll get into it shortly. As I said earlier, we have our reporters stationed across the various areas of the nation while they be giving us the details of the various stories that we'll be getting into today. And now to the stories. We begin with weather alert, where the federal government has issued a red alert for possible flooding in 15 northern states between the 10th and 14th of August, urging communities to take preventive action. This follows a similar warning for 11 states last month. Now, the Ministry of Environment, through its National Flood Early Warning Center, listed high-risk states as Adamawa, Bauchi, Nasarawa, Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, Kano, Niger, Taraba, Jigawa, Yobe, Zamfara, Sokoto, Borno, and Kwara. Well, towns on high alert include Jimeta, Mubi, Kefi, Kafanchan, Birnin Kebbi, Mina, Gusau, and Sokoto, with Kebbi State recording the most locations at risk. We're still on the weather. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency says thunderstorms and rain will persist across the country through Wednesday. This afternoon, northern states including Bauchi, Borno, Kaduna, Kano, Jigawa, and others are expected to see thunderstorms with flood risks in Katsina, Kebbi, Zamfara, and Sokoto. In the central region, thunderstorms are likely in the Federal Capital Territory and neighboring states, while Plateau, Nasarawa, and Niger could face flooding. Southern states will have moderate showers later in the day, raising flood concerns in Delta, Imo, Bayelsa, Rivers, and Akwa Ibom. Now, similar conditions are also expected nationwide on Tuesday, with widespread thunderstorms and rainfall. And in the meantime, residents of Badawa community in Nasarawa local government area of Kano State have commenced a drainage clearance operation. This is in response to the prediction by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, which warned of possible flash floods in Nigeria's northern states. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu has more on this.
Traditional drumming exercise to support this voluntary community work, popularly called Gaya. Here at the Badawa community in the Kano State capital, residents have come out in response to early warning signs of floods, which they say have become an annual occurrence in the month of August with devastating effect. We are here doing this work because of the flood prediction by government, which by the grace of God will happen this month. About 3 to 4 years ago, the flood happened and destroyed homes, including the cemetery down there. Gaya, which is regarded as any kind of voluntary community work, is in this case effort at flood control. The participating youth say this edition is special. As soon as we finish, we expect the government to use their waste management agencies to pack up these debts. Else, the rains will return them back to the drainage. Our homes are all affected by flood. Look at this drainage, all blocked. Look. We need support from government. The drum master, Muhammadu Lawal, whose contribution has been immense, has a few words to say. My contribution is drumming. They are emptying the drainage. I am playing the drum for them. They are enjoying the beat. We are all enjoying it together. The Badawa community says that they have done their due and call on the state government across its 3 arms to also live up to their responsibilities. In Kano for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
As earlier mentioned, we have our reporters stationed across the various regions of the nation. We have Aisha, Emmanuel, and of course, Nii Omoni, as well as Chizoba, who will be joining me subsequently to give us details of what's happening across the nation. Now we go to security matters. Fresh violence has erupted in Boka's local government area of Plateau State, where gunmen attacked Dingat community, killing 2 people in a midnight raid. The assault, which lasted over 4 hours, saw homes, churches and food stores burned, while livestock and farm produce were looted. The Boka's Cultural Development Forum says the victims included 2 church officials from the Church of Christ and Nations, and 2 Colson churches were set ablaze. Now, community leaders say the attack is part of a rising wave of violence in that region, coming just 2 days after a similar incident in the nearby Ndimar. They're calling on the federal and state governments to act swiftly, as security forces have yet to release an official statement. Now we have News Central's Chizoba Anyowe, who will be joining us now to give us updates on this. Chizoba, this is a kind of attack that happens now almost all the time. What would we say triggered such attack in that region?
Thanks for having me, Blessings. Unfortunately, like you said, it seemed like a daily reoccurrence, and nobody is happy about this. Even the locals themselves, they are tired. And they keep asking the question, what is going on? Is the government not supposed to safeguard their lives? Is government not supposed to rise up to the challenge to secure their property? The security agencies as well. Shouldn't these people be on their toes to ensure that these locals have what they need, which is their safety, their security? And so getting to speak with one of the locals who says he doesn't want his name mentioned since the security operatives have not given any official statement on this incident, has said that nothing gave rise to this one. Again, just like we've been hearing over the days and years, that sometimes nothing triggered the certain attack we are talking about. So for this one, he said there was no rustling of cattle anywhere, there was no killing of anybody, and so they were surprised that just in the night of Thursday, and then everybody started running helter-skelter. Those in their homes were killed. And unfortunately, these ones were murdered in the worship center in the church. Officials of the church were murdered, 3 of them. And so their worry is, what is actually going on? Who is behind this? And they're getting tired of continuously calling on governments at all levels. The local, the state, and the federal too, to do something, to rise up to this challenge, so they can sleep with their 2 eyes closed and do their daily diligence to ensure they have a livelihood. So that's the situation for now.
All right, Chizoba, we're there from Plateau State giving us the update. Thank you so much for the update from there, and we're hoping that the government weighs in on this as soon as possible. Now, also joining us on the news to share more insight on this is a resident of Plateau and former commander, Multinational Joint Task Force of Nigerian Army, retired Brigadier General John Temlong. Thank you so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's also a pleasure having you. Now, these attacks have been happening for over 20 years now, and the state, and I'm talking about Plateau State, has many security personnel, and that includes you. What can be done exactly to stop these attacks, these recurring attacks, if I must say, to protect people and property?
Well, thank you very much. I like your question, which says even including me. First of all, my heartfelt condolences to all those who have been killed, not just in Bokos, but Plateau. My heart reaches out to their families. What I have been preaching, and I've been saying it over and over, is that we must have a way and find a way on how our marginal communities must survive. I always say that if they don't survive, what happens is that you just react and go and pick dead bodies or see what casualties have been out there. And it is the responsibility of government, actually, not the task force. The STF is there to provide military assistance to the civil authority. Now we must find a way of having an early warning mechanism And that means that we have to teach our people and build their capacity on what to do and how to report and see indicators that will give us a proactive way of dealing with those things. And I agree with you that we are all here, and unless the government engages us constructively, we are handicapped in trying to see if we can help build this capacity in a way that we're able to have community resilience, have communities that can be able to withstand some of these crises that have been befitting us for almost 20 years. If you see in some areas, there's relative peace because some proactive measures have been taken, so you don't have these sort of problems that you're having again. I'll give you, we had those things in the southern zone for a long time. In fact, it was very vicious, more than this. But we were able to contain it in the southern zone, at least in the Wase, Lantan North, Lantan South, part of Kwanpan, part of Shandam,
Right.
and Mikang local governments have been relatively content. You can't have 100%.
Okay.
Even though it's coming up around this thing. So it was a collaboration between the citizens, the government, and some of us that were able to help in helping to stem this situation.
All right. Thank you so much, retired Brigadier General John Temlong. Thank you for the update, at least letting us know what you have been up to, as well as the other security agencies, in ensuring peace in that region. We appreciate your time with us on the news. Still to rising insecurity up north, suspected Boko Haram terrorists attacked Kirawa, a border town in Gaza, Borno State, causing panic. Now, armed militants on motorcycles opened fire indiscriminately, burning houses and vehicles while exchanging gunfire with the military. During the attack, they abducted Aisha Mohammed Aja, a schoolgirl who recently completed her junior secondary exams. The assault lasted for hours on end, and we're yet to see what has been done about that. But in the meantime, the federal government is set to arraign Idris Omeza, Al-Qasim Idris, Jamiu Abdulmalik, Abdullaim Idris, and Momo Abubakar for their alleged role in the June 5, 2022 bombing of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. These suspects will face 9 terrorism-related charges before Justice Obiora Egwatu at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Now, their arraignment comes 3 years after the arrest was announced by then Chief of Defense Staff General Loki Irabor. The National Security Council had blamed the attack on the Islamic State West Africa province, ISWAP. Also to more stories, a prolonged land dispute between residents of Jaji in Kaduna State and the military cantonment in the area has climaxed, leading to the eviction of allegedly illegal land users and the demolition of their houses by the military. The affected communities include Ungwan Yohana, Ungwan Aboki, Sabun Ungwan Loya, Ungwan Railway, and Ungwan El Hassan, all in Jaji, Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. Now, speaking to News Central's correspondent in Jaji, residents, while sharing their court documents, say that despite an order restraining the military from carrying out the exercise, soldiers stormed their communities, chasing residents out. Right now, our correspondent, Emmanuel Bagudu, joins us live from Jaji in Kaduna State to give us more update on the situation. Hello, Emmanuel. Can you bring us up to speed as to what's happening? I can see 2 gentlemen beside you. Are these the residents who were chased out, or are they spectators? What do they have to say?
Yes, of course. I'm standing right here at Angol Al-Hassan. Angol Al-Hassan here, and I'm here with the community head. He's going to give us details of what is happening. Okay, you can tell us your name, sir.
Okay, my name is Rabiu Ibrahim, the head of Angwa Al-Hassan village.
Tell us what happened, sir.
Actually, 8 days ago, around 7 in the evening, we have seen a team of soldiers came my village with the hammer, what shall I call it, digger. They came into my village, started demolition my people houses without any reason.
What are the reasons for doing it? What did they say?
They say that this, our land, belongs to them.
But does it belong to them?
No.
I can see that you're having some papers here. What do you have?
This paper is a certificate of occupancy of this village.
Okay. Being issued by the Kaduna State government?
Being issued by the Kaduna State government and Upper Area Court of Kaduna.
I can see that this is the logo.
This is the logo of
Kaduna State Geographic Information System.
Yes, actually, which they can in 2022. They make this exercise by the Kaduna State High Court. They send this team of Kadgis to come and visit the area that we are having this problem with the Nigerian.
And who won the case?
The case up to now is in the court, and the matter is still in the court because they have the court has never ended the.
So there's a court order. So what's the court order saying?
There is court orders. We have almost 6 court orders with us.
That stops them from doing the work.
That stop them from because my people, majority of them are not government workers. They are farmers. They used to farm. We use farming activities to feed ourselves, to take our children to school.
So what you're saying is that there's a court order that stops them from doing the demolition.
They say that they are not following the rule and regulation of the Nigerian court order.
Is that what they said?
They have said.
So that's what the military said?
Yes.
They're not following the court order?
Yes.
Okay, let's just look at the damage in which they have done. These are inhabitants of the community who are really facing. This is just a few of the damage that has been done.
Yes.
And these are people here behind me who have also, been affected. So just like we said, we're going to be following these papers, see how authentic they are, and then we're going to speak to the Nigerian military cantonment here in Jazeera, just a stone throw from here, to actually find out the truth behind this situation and see how we can, balance the story, and then of course hear from them. Yeah, thank you.
Emmanuel Bagudu, thank you so much for bringing us the update. There clearly is a breach somewhere there, and we'll get to the bottom of that. Thank you once again. Now, we're going on a short break. It's still the 12 report, and when we come back, we've got more stories, which include ASU demanding urgent government action over looming strike. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on the 12 reports. Now, following numerous complaints of alleged corruption, abuse of power, and inhumane treatment by officers of the Nigeria Correctional Service, the independent investigative panel set up by the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunjiojo, is holding its 3rd public hearing. The panel is tasked with investigating these allegations and recommending immediate, medium-term, and long-term actions to address this. News Central's Aisha Saliu is currently at the venue of the hearing and brings us up to speed on the proceedings. Aisha Saliu, hello. I want to find out, this is the 3rd convening, if I'm correct. What does this meeting aim to achieve?
Thank you so much, Blessings. Right now, I'm at the venue where the 3rd public hearing on the investigative panel that has been set up, for the alleged corruption and other violations of the Nigerian Correctional Services. And it's starting today, but it promises to hold for the next 4 days. And during the course of the 4 days, there would be several thematic themes that would be discussed. As for today, the theme for today is children and young persons in custody. Also discussions on the relationship between the Nigerian Correctional Service and administration of remand homes, amongst others, informal places of deprivation of liberty for children and young persons, including those struggling with drug addiction, among others. And apart from the members of the investigative panel who are convening this meeting, and also some officers from the Nigeria Correctional Services, other right groups are equally here in the hall here, and part of their demand so far, and then I quote, is more of reformation and rehabilitation. And they are asking for the separation of adults from minor inmates, and also the relocation of these minor inmates, profiling of all inmates, with minors identified and also separated. And they're also asking for increased funding for rehabilitation, mental health and reintegration. They're talking about recruitment of more psychologists, especially for children, minors who are in detention. These are part of the deliberations so far. It has just started not quite long, and deliberations are still ongoing.
All right, I'm very curious as to find out, Aisha, if at all there has been any officers named or implicated so far in the panel's investigations, because I think the people would want to know that.
Well, Blessings, no officers have been named yet. We're still looking forward to hearing that, if at all it comes during the course of this investigative panel hearing. But you'd agree with me that just about a week ago, the board also sacked 15 officers, where about 59 of them were also demoted in major disciplinary crackdown. We hope that perhaps by the end of the 4 days investigative panel hearing, such results would also arise from this public hearing. But for now, no officers have been mentioned.
All right, Aisha, very quickly, before we let you go, beyond the disciplinary action that has been carried out and that will be carried out, and beyond all of the meeting, I think that one thing that we're all hoping to see is a reform. So what are the recommendations that have been made so far regarding how the conduct in the correctional facilities will be carried out going forward?
Well, some of the recommendations made so far is increased funding for rehabilitation, mental health, and also reintegration. Some of the right groups here, they are asking that there should be more focus on rehabilitation over mere detention, because they are saying that over the years, the focus has just been more on detention and detention. We know that these facilities are set up to correct, to rehabilitate these people, and then, once they go in and they are out, they are reintegrated back into the society.
All right, Aisha Saliu, thank you so much. Aisha Saliu there with the update on the meeting regarding the correctional facility incident in recent times. Now, the Lagos State government is set to begin the pilot phase of its digital house numbering system in Ikeja. This initiative aims to improve navigation, enhance security, and boost service delivery across the state. Right now, News Central's Igbalani Omoni is live on ground with more details. Ni, thank you for joining us once again. We have been following this story, of course, since morning. What is the first phase supposed to be like? What does that, entail?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Blessing. We should have been out about 2 hours ago. The pilot phase was set to kick off around Ikeja environ to a few of some of the houses. We would have gotten the opportunity to speak with some of the landlords, which we still hope to do so once authorities arrive here and we'll begin the commencement of this pilot phase. So the process is quite simple. They go to some of those houses. I want to believe install some of these Lagos digital house plate numbers, which carries a lot of information and details. Most of the questions we hope to have or interactions we hope to have with the landlord are what was the information given to them about these digital plate numbers? How do they populate the information in terms of the tenant and information about the tenant? How do they get it? Is it going to be free? Does it come at any cost? These are some of the conversations we hope to have once we arrive on the field. For now, we're still waiting for authorities to come by, and once we get on the field, we'll have more answers to how this is going to work. For now, we do know that they were supposed to roll out at July, but of course we're in August now, and it's not too late to start. And once we get more information, we'll certainly let you know.
All right, very quickly, what impact would you say that the government is expecting that this system will have on residents and their businesses?
Well, for them, they aim to revolutionize navigation, security, and of course, product delivery, service delivery, basically, e-hailing services, locations, trying to navigate, trying to get things across to places, more importantly, taxation, which generated a lot of debate earlier when they held a press conference some months back, notifying people about this launch. it's going to be easier that way to track and to know how many people are in a particular house and populate the data, and of course to be able to say, oh, the taxes from these places have not been reeled in. Of course, this is by the government. And of course, there is a place of the land use charge, which is quite important to them, and of course, very a pertinent thing when it has to do with Lagos. Lagos has this land use charge where houses are supposed to pay, and of course, pay their dues monthly. Now, with this data, they will be able to get every information about the occupants of the house, how the land has been in use, and what currently is the status of these of the building. So I think these are the things for them. On the part of the people are quite concerned. Actually, there's a concern about data security and of course privacy. We know what happened recently when there were information about an alleged leak about people's NIM details on social media or being bought for as low as 100 naira. So these are some of the concerns people have raised when we asked them questions earlier about this initiative. But of course, the authorities have assured of proper diligence to ensure that the data and privacy of people are kept secured. So aside these concerns, people hope to benefit from it. Not very much, but maybe the government will be the major beneficiary of it. And at the end of the day, it will serve a greater purpose, because for people who are trying to navigate, people are trying to locate different places, in terms of the numberings, in terms of having double numbers, double street names, all these things might be rectified just by this initiative.
All right, thank you so much for the update. Neo Money there with the update on the house numbering system, which has kicked off in Ikeja. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has issued a stern warning to the federal government, demanding immediate action to avert a looming strike action government-owned universities. Now, in a statement signed by National President Professor Chris Piwuna, the union says the government has pushed it to the wall. This comes despite recent assurances from the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, who declared that there would never again be strikes by tertiary institution trade unions. Right now, our correspondent, Omolola Ololade, is at the University of Lagos to report on the current situation on ground. Omolola Ololade, thank you for joining us. What is the current mood among the lecturers and the students regarding the strike?
Getting to the University of Lagos, we did move around to check what the current situation of things are here in the university. And, we did move around to check what the current situation of things are. And then on getting there, we did find out that, everyone is just going about daily activities, particularly the students who are just going about the daily activities. And then, asking them, many of the students, in fact, we did ask some of the students if they know about the strike, and many of the students, didn't even know that, there's a stern one from ASU that they will be going on strike lately. And then when you ask them about if they are having their lectures going on strike, one of the students say that it's actually, they're not having lectures. And when I asked, him that why are they not having lectures, is it related to the strike? He said nothing like that. That it's their lecture-free week. It's a lecture-free week. And I asked why. He said that the exams are, very soon. Next week or something. So I asked what happens if any strike should happen, and because of that, they said they wouldn't even want anything like a strike happening now, that it's not the perfect timing for them, as they'll be starting the exams very soon. And the same thing from the lecturers too. They're saying that although they're not happy that the strike would happen, but have to go on if the federal government is not meeting their demands.
Okay, Omolola Ololade, thank you for the update on that. That's the update on the looming strike and ASU's response to that. We're going on a short break now. It's still the 12 report, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. Well, it's still the 12 report, and so far we've covered the flood alerts and the need to evacuate affected areas as soon as possible, and the possibility of these spreading even beyond the north. We've also talked about the digital house numbering and its relevance, and we've established the fact that it has now begun in Ikeja, where our correspondent Neo Money is stationed currently to give us updates, and he has told us a little about what that aims to do for residents and their businesses. And we've also talked about insecurity in the north and, of course, in the north central in Kwara State, where certain things have happened, and we've given you more updates on that. But to more stories. A political crisis may be brewing in the Delta State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, as some stakeholders urge President Bola Tinubu to wade in to protect the party's fragile peace and unity. Now, the alleged neglect of existing party structures 4 months after Governor Sharif Oborori has his predecessor, Ifeanyi Okowa, and the former PDP State Working Committee defected to the APC. News Central's Austin Azu reports.
More than 4 months ago, Delta State Governor Sharif Oborori led the entire PDP structure in the state into the ruling APC.
Let me tell you, APC is not like PDP. The governor takes charge. Yes. And we are taking charge. Yes.
What has been the sentiment of some APC members since his arrival and that of others?
But the governor going to APC has made the party to be more popular. They now have more grassroots support.
Since he had moved to the APC, the ruling party, trying to strengthen the party, and there have been a lot of meetings, stakeholders, engagements, just to make sure that everyone is carried along.
Imai Jofo, speaking for a coalition of concerned APC stakeholders, says the neglect of long-standing members threatens the party's stability.
The issue there is that we worked, we sustained the structure to this moment, and they are coming to, in short, it's conquest. There's nothing, it's just pure conquest in this 21st century. That is the anointing there. So nobody will tell you now that we're at peace with what is happening, because the majority of APC members are not in line with whatever that is happening.
He's appealing to President Bola Tinubu to address what he describes as leadership crisis in the party.
But why I'm raising this alarm both to the national chairman and the president, let us sit together and know your contribution and our contribution.
But APC Publicity Secretary in the state, Valentine Onujero, rejects the allegations, insisted the party remains united and inclusive.
However, everything he has said so far, we issued a press statement saying those things are not the correct facts on ground. Delta APC is united under the leadership of the governor.
The APC's ability to resolve these grievances will be closely watched as Delta heads towards the 2027 general elections. In Asaba for News Central, Austin Azu.
That was a report by Austin Azu on Delta Party politics. Now, Governor Biodun Oyebanji of Ekiti State has dissolved the entire state executive council with immediate effect ahead of the June 20th, 2026 governorship election. Now, in a statement, the secretary to the state government, Habibat Adubiaro, said all commissioners and special advisors must hand over to permanent secretaries or senior civil servants in their ministries. The dissolution excludes the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, along with commissioners for Health, Agriculture, Education, Works and Trade. Certain special advisors and directors general will also retain their positions. Now, Oyebanji of the All Progressives Congress took office in October 2022 and is seeking re-election next year. Now to business, let's take a look at the aviation sector, where the unions have suspended a nationwide strike planned for 11th of August after last-minute talks with Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo. The union's National Union of Air Transport Employees, Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Association of Nigeria Aviation Professionals, and the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporations, Civil Service Technical and Recreational Services Employees said the decision followed positive developments in their demand for better pay for Nigerian Airspace Management Agency workers. A no-objection letter from the Budget Office cleared the way for a new salary structure from August. The strike is deferred pending review at the end of the month. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has officially launched its electronic invoicing e-invoicing system, also known as the merchant buyer model, to enhance tax compliance and modernize revenue collection. The platform went live on the 1st of August 2025 after a pilot began in November 2024. Over 1,000 large taxpayers companies with annual turnover above 5 billion naira have already begun integration. MTN Nigeria led with the first live invoice, while Huawei and IHS Nigeria followed. FIRS, in collaboration with NITDA, extended the compliance deadline to November 1st, 2025, and is now offering continued support to ensure seamless onboarding and improved fiscal transparency. Now, a quick peek into the stories outside of Nigeria. In Mali, the ruling military junta has moved to quell a suspected coup attempt within its own ranks, arresting dozens of soldiers in recent days. Now, authorities say that those detained are suspected of plotting to overthrow the government. The crackdown comes as the junta faces ongoing jihadist insurgencies, fueling instability across the country. Among those arrested is General Abbas Dembele, a respected military leader and former governor of the Mopti region, who was apprehended near the capital, Bamako, without public explanation. Now to the southern part of Africa. Recent attacks by armed groups in northern Mozambique displaced tens of thousands in July alone, deepening an already dire humanitarian crisis in Cabo Delgado and straining limited aid supplies. Now, according to United Nations, food, shelter, and essential non-food items are reported as the most urgent needs. News Central's Bongani Siziba has more.
For nearly 8 years, northern Mozambique has been gripped by a relentless conflict. In Cabo Delgado province, violence has displaced more than 400,000 people, families torn apart, and communities shattered. Access to health care is collapsing, clinics are shutting down, and medical staff are being forced to retreat, leaving vulnerable communities without essential services.
If you look at what happened last year and this year, so we have roughly sevenfold increase of people who fled from northern districts, from 100 to roughly 700,000. So obviously, this puts a lot of strains to existing infrastructure, health, education, everything.
In 2025 alone, more than 40,000 people have been forced from their homes as attacks intensify. Over 100,000 were affected by violence in May, the highest monthly surge since June 2022. According to the United Nations, aid is also dwindling. Funding cuts by United States means saving assistance is being scaled back, and only 19% of required humanitarian funds have been pledged so far.
O impacto é grande porque se a população vive em grande intranquilidade, também a sua sedentarização e a sua permanência nos seus locais de origem torna-se mais precária. Se a sua permanência é precária, significa que não há produção agrícola e esta população tem que viver de donativos. Se vive de donativos e de ajuda humanitária, isto também causa uma grande pressão sobre organismos internacionais que tradicionalmente mobilizam apoios para esta população.
The conflict driven by local insurgent groups known as Al-Shabaab continues to threaten peace. Rwandan troops are supporting Mozambique's forces in restoring stability, but without urgent action and increased support, many risk being trapped in a cycle of violence and displacement. For News Central, Bongani Siziba.
Yet another sad development, a story that has been growing for a while now. Dozens have been killed in Gaza as Israel intensifies its bombardment of the besieged enclave. Hundreds of thousands have taken to the streets worldwide, rallying in solidarity with Palestinians and demanding an end to the attacks amid a growing humanitarian crisis marked by widespread starvation. In Gaza City, Palestinians have begun paying tribute to the Al Jazeera journalists killed during Sunday's airstrike. Meanwhile, Doctors Without Borders reports a massive influx of casualties at their Gaza facilities. Joining us right now is Zoe Benel, a Field Communications Manager, MSF Palestine, based in Jerusalem. For more insight, thank you, Zoe, for joining us. Can you please give us an update as to what the mood is like based on the current situation in Dingat community after the midnight attacks?
Yeah, I mean, the mood is obviously not good. Our colleagues are very shaken up, and they've seen, yeah, it's scary to see the increase in violence, especially in Gaza City. But of course, this is happening all over the Strip. As we've said, we've seen a huge influx in patients injured over the last few weeks. And a lot of these are coming from the aid distribution side. So it is not only the violence and the airstrikes that we're seeing, but constantly this violence while people are trying to survive on top of this. The blockage of food and the violence at aid distribution sites means that people are just struggling to survive completely.
I mean, what has even happened? It goes without saying that the people are shaking up, like you said. But I mean, looking at the fact that homes have been destroyed, churches have been destroyed, food stores have been destroyed, how are the residents coping with this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, isn't it? After 22 months of complete destruction, how do you cope with this, you know? As you say, people are living in makeshift shelters as homes and buildings have been destroyed. You mentioned there a church. We had colleagues who were sheltering in a church because they'd been displaced, and that church was also attacked. So even places of refuge and shelter are being attacked. And now, yes, what we see is that food is either unavailable or it is too expensive. So the most vulnerable people and the people that need it the most are not able to get the basic necessities that they need to survive.
All right, Zoe Benel, a Field Communications Manager, MSF Palestine, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us the update, and keep doing the good work you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, we have an update on the Owo situation where the federal government is set to arraign Idris Omeza, Al-Qasim Idris, Jamiu Abdulmalik, Abdullahim Idris and Momo Abubakar for their alleged role in June 5, 2022 bombing of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. I'm sure a lot of people would not forget that story in a hurry. Joshua Marai is on standby to give us the updates now on that situation. Joshua Marai, what is the update on the arraignment of the perpetrators or alleged perpetrators of the bombing?
Good afternoon, Blessings. 5 suspects, particularly Idris Abdulmalik Omeza, age 25, Idris, age 20, Jamil Abdulmalik, age 26, Abdulhamid Idris, age 25, and Momo Otu Abubakar, age 22, have all been accused of being members of the Al-Shabaab terrorist group with a cell unit in Kogi State, where they have been said to have held meetings in GSS or Gambero in Kogi State, and also in Omi Alafia Central Mosque in Ondo State, where they have been alleged to have been the perpetrators of the St. Francis Catholic Church of June 2025. However, these suspects have all pleaded not guilty to the 9-count charge of terrorism allegations, and the prosecutor in this, that is the one representing the federal government, have urged the court to remand all the 5 suspects in the custody of the DSS. The counsel for the defendant, however, prayed to the court that they should allow our friends and lawyers of these accused to be given access to them in DSS custody. However, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja actually adjourned the case for August 19, 2025 for a continuation of trial.
All right, thank you, Joshua Marai, for the update. And News Central will definitely be following closely the trial when the time is right. Fourteen northern states are now on high alert. The federal government has issued a flood warning through August 15, with Niger, Adamawa, Borno already knee-deep in disaster. Oh, but some amount of damage has already been done so far. Now, if you remember vividly, in Mokwa, Niger State, late May flash floods killed over 500 600 persons. More than 600 are still missing till date. 3,500 are displaced and 4,000 homes gone. Just like that. Adamawa's Yola floods took 25 lives, need I remind you, displaced 5,560 and left 11 people missing. Bornu's flood last year displaced 400,000 people. Most still haven't yet recovered. Sad to think that a lot of people still think this is just a problem for the North. But here's the bigger problem. The North grows much of Nigeria's food. The floods have drowned rice fields, millet farms, maize plantations. The Mokwa Bridge collapse has cut supply routes to the south. And that means prices in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, and Abuja will spike. And hunger will definitely rise across board, not just in the north. The World Food Programme has already shut 150 nutrition clinics, putting 300,000 plus children at risk of acute malnutrition. Remember that, yeah? And then there's the disease, cholera cases climbing, 359 deaths, over 10,800 suspected cases in just 9 months. Imagine how much more with the flooding, a 239% jump from last year. What do you think the source is? IDP camps are overcrowded, clean water is scarce, and health facilities are crumbling. We cannot sandbag our way out of these every year. We need long-term flood defenses. We need real investment. We need resilient agriculture. And of course, nationwide disaster prep before the next rainy season turns more homes, more farms, and more lives into waterlogged graves. Well, that said, we'll be going straight to business now to find out what's happening to games, to find out what's happening in the sporting world. And of course, we'll be joined by the Tigers captain, two-time AfroBasket MVP, and three-time champion Amy Okonkwo as she shares her incredible journey and what it takes to lead a winning team. But to give us a snippet of what we are to expect in sport, let's cross over to Onyechi Obaru. Onyechi, are you ready for us?
Yes, of course. We are ready. And in the game, we'll be telling you about the live on court, the journey through that 2025 AfroBasket triumph, and the future for the skipper of the team. So join us on In the Game. You'll get more.
More on that on In the Games. But don't forget to follow us on social media, and of course send your eyewitness reports. We're waiting to get your eyewitness reports. And do also watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times 274, GoTV 23, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Wasugu.